So why are so many of us sick? We're constantly dealing with chronic illness, and we're told it's just, bad luck, or it's in our genes. But what if the real answer isn't about the future, but about looking way, way back into our evolutionary past? Let's dig into this genetic mystery together.
This quote, this really just nails it, doesn't it? It's the core idea behind something called epigenetics. Think of it like this. Our genes are the hardware, the computer itself. But our lifestyle, the food we eat, the stress we're under, that's the software telling the hardware exactly what to do. Our choices are literally the code that tells our genes which parts of the blueprint to build and which parts to just leave on the shelf.
All right, so let's just start by completely dismantling one of the biggest myths in modern health. This idea that we're all just helpless puppets playing out a script that was written by our DNA.
Sound familiar? Of course it does. We hear these phrases all the time. Maybe we even say them ourselves. We use them to explain away our health problems, almost like we're powerless. And look, it's a convenient story, for sure. But the science is telling us it's just not the whole picture. Not even close.
You want proof? Identical twins are the perfect natural experiment. They share the exact same DNA, a perfect copy. And yet, it's totally possible for one twin to develop a chronic disease while the other stays completely healthy and active. So what's the variable? It's not their genes. It's their environment and, most importantly, their lifestyle. It just proves the point. Lifestyle is what pulls that trigger.
So, if it's not our genes that are really to blame, what is it? Well, the real culprit is a massive conflict, a biological mismatch that's been brewing for thousands of years between our ancient bodies and the modern world we live in.
Let's try to put this into perspective, because the timeline is just staggering. If you squeeze the entire 2.5 million year history of humanity into a single 24-hour day, we spent 23 hours and 55 minutes as hunter-gatherers. The agricultural revolution, that moment we started farming grains, that didn't happen until the last 5 minutes before midnight. The last 5 minutes.
For almost our entire evolution, our bodies were fueled by fat and protein from huge animals, megafauna, things like mammoths. This high-fat, nutrient-dense diet is literally what allowed our brains to grow so big and complex. This is our biological factory setting.
0.4%. That's it. That is the tiny, insignificant slice of human history where grains have been a major food source. It's basically a rounding error on our evolutionary timeline.
And you have to understand, this big shift to agriculture, it wasn't some brilliant upgrade. It was an act of pure desperation. Climate change and our own skill as hunters led to the extinction of those big, fatty animals. Grains became Plan B, a way to avoid starving to death.
Now, that 10,000-year-old survival strategy has backfired in a big way. It's like our bodies are trying to run ancient software, let's say Windows 95, on a brand new high-speed computer. And what happens? The system just crashes.
So here's the bottom line. Our culture, our society, our food, it's all changed at lightning speed. But our genetics, our DNA, it's basically still stuck in the Stone Age, expecting the kind of fuel that we were actually designed to run on.
And this mismatch leads to a major system malfunction called insulin resistance. Look, our bodies are built to handle a little bit of sugar here and there, like from some berries in the summer, but they were never, ever designed for the constant, overwhelming flood of glucose that comes from a diet built on bread, pasta, and rice. The system just gets overloaded. The cells stop listening to insulin, which is the key hormone that's supposed to manage all that sugar.
And the result of that malfunction? Well, it's pretty much a list of what we call the diseases of civilization. But here's the thing. These aren't really separate illnesses. When your cells are drowning in sugar they can't use, it triggers inflammation all over your body, it drives fat storage, it leads to obesity, and it's the direct cause of type 2 diabetes. They are all just symptoms of the very same root problem, this fundamental conflict between our genes and our food.
And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, the Industrial Revolution came along and just poured gasoline on the fire. The processed junk that lines our supermarket shelves today, let's be honest, it isn't really food. It's a collection of chemical substances engineered to be addictive and to completely disrupt our ancient biology.
So, what on earth is the solution? Is it hopeless? Not at all. It's not about finding some futuristic new diet pill. It's about going backwards. It's about hitting the factory reset button on your body and rewinding the clock to a time when our diet and our DNA were actually in sync. And the fix is actually surprisingly simple. It comes down to three things. First, change your fuel.
Switch your body back from being a sugar burner to being a fat burner. That's its original, preferred energy source. Second, eat real food. My rule of thumb, if it comes in a box with a long list of ingredients you can't pronounce, it's probably not what your body's looking for. And third, respect the clock. Our ancestors didn't have a 24/7 all-you-can-eat buffet. They feasted and then they fasted. That rhythm is absolutely critical for our health.
That's because giving your body a break from eating, fasting, is crucial. It triggers this amazing process called autophagy. Think of it like your body's internal housekeeping crew. It goes around and clears out all the old, damaged cells and junk proteins. If you're eating constantly, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, your body never gets a chance to do this vital self-repair job. So you see, the secret we're all searching for isn't in some high-tech lab or some new miracle drug. The instruction manual for a long, healthy life, it's been with us the whole time. It's written into the very fabric of our DNA, over millions and millions of years.
This dietary mistake is only 10,000 years old. In the grand scheme of things, that's just a blip in our history, but it's one that has had massive, devastating consequences. The good news, the really amazing news, is that you can start to correct it with your very next meal. The power is completely in your hands. So are you ready?